What is up, fellow bench warmers? Welcome to Week 9 Judgment Day, and this is your daily fantasy quickie. What's up, guys? It's Week 9 Judgment Day, and I don't know how you feel about Week 9, but Week 9 has probably been one of the more crazier weeks in fantasy with all the COVID things, and today lots of things that happened, COVID included. Of course, I'm your host JJT with Komish. Komish, crazy Week 9 Judgment Day, and I'm sure a lot of managers are quite disappointed and annoyed with what's happened. Especially we had 3 games postponed today due to lack of players or COVID situation.
And the games that were postponed, aside from the Brooklyn game, probably we kind of expected that.
Mm-hmm.
The other games came out of nowhere, like New Orleans versus Philadelphia. That was surprising. Atlanta, Cleveland, that was also surprising because before today they had 1 or 2 only. So last night suddenly Cleveland had 5 go into the protocol, and then so that was surprising, and it was tough because you at that point, no matter how good you are in fantasy or how you've been researching and been following the news, can't do anything about it. Even if you're in a daily change league, probably you don't have enough moves anyway, right?
And for some like me in a few leagues, I wasted a couple of moves adding players who the following day I found out that will not be playing, right? I had Terrence Ross, I had Miles McBride, and I think today I had another player that did not play, and after adding him, so it's tough, and that's part of, I guess, head to head, the luck factor there on the week that you get these things.
This year, given what's happening, I don't think really you can say that when you win that it's because you're good, or when you lose because you're bad. Really, luck factor this year is times 20 or 30, I think, and just have to roll with the punches, and hopefully, with so many players already getting COVID, it will come to a point where there will be a little herd immunity kind of a thing, like what's happening in our country. So we would have I'm predicting we will have a more stable, probably January, middle of January to February. It will be more stable by that time. So good. I mean, that's the only silver lining I can see with what's happening now.
And like we said, it's this season has probably been a little worse.
Hello?
This season, we probably had like I said, a worse year when it comes to COVID in terms of players getting the virus, and at the same time the postponements is starting to pile up. But the good thing about postponed games is that they're gonna play that anyway.
But they could play it. They could play it after the fantasy season is over if you're in head to head, or they could play it during the playoffs. So now that all your research about which teams have a lot of games and which team has fewer games and during the playoffs might change. More or less, it will change because of these postponements. And week 10 would be crazier also. If you saw our analyzer that we released today, there are very few games to begin with because it's Christmas, and there would be one day where there's no games, which is Christmas Eve in the US, 25 here in the Manila. Now you remove 2 more games tomorrow and on the second day of the week. Basically, there will be except for the December 23 or December 24 games here in Manila, which is complete 12 game schedule. The rest of the days are not as packed or as busy. So it will be really tough if your players are gonna miss games. Like if you don't have, if you have injured players, it's tough to be able to to be able
That-
to,
I guess one
stream
question
properly.
is about streaming. How do you stream then? Do you stream
Um,
like you always do and just pick up the player you feel would, because really sometimes some of these postponements or players getting COVID boils down to luck. We really don't know who's going to be the next player. Yeah.
yeah, it's tough. This week there's not much back to backs. Also, if you look at our analyzer, there's probably only maybe 7 or 8 back to backs.
Mm-hmm.
Monday, tomorrow, and the second day, no back to backs. The second and the third day, I think, no back to backs also. The last 2 days of the week, no back to backs also. So streaming that way won't work. So what I would suggest this week is you stream tomorrow. The first 3 days of the week is very light, like 6 games, 6 games, 5 games. So they're light. So maybe just find players who will play 2 of the 3 games.
Yeah.
That's the streamer that you can target. Now, what Jeremy's saying, what if the player gets into COVID or whatever? We can't do anything about that anymore.
Yeah.
Right? We just luck factor already. But right now, just follow the schedule that the NBA has. The first 3 days is crucial. Find a player would have 2 of the 3 days, play 2 of the 3 days, and there. OKC is a team that has 4 games. The only team left with 4 games this week, because Orlando, I picked up Robin Lopez in a lot of leagues, thinking Orlando would have 4 games this week. They would have a game tomorrow, and they have a good schedule at that. And then, of course, their game got postponed. So
yeah.
there.
So another thing that you might want to consider when streaming is that you at this point before tomorrow's games, look into your opponent. What's the situation with your opponent? Does he have a full roster, or is he or she still suffering as well from these COVID things? So you can know how you manage your moves as well. If maybe you have a better a full roster, that's gonna make streaming easier for you. If your opponent is ravaged with injuries and COVID, at the same time, look into certain stats. Right, when you stream, pick players, look into what's the strengths of your opponent, and maybe stay a little bit away from those, so that when you pick streamers, just stream smartly than just adding any player you could see there in the waiver wire, I guess.
Yeah, and never say never. Like, looking at your opponent, that's a factor. Like I said, I had a league, in a 16-team league. I have CJ McCollum, Paul George, and Zach LaVine in that league last week. I did mention this last week. I Bogdanovic also in that league. So I was down a lot of players. We only have one IL. We don't have an IL plus also.
Yeah.
But I won that week. I won this week 5-4. But in other leagues that I'm not that down, I lost big. So you can never say, because I'm against an opponent there that I guess also was suffering from injuries, and his team is not strong to begin with. So it was a good matchup for me. I was lucky. So you just have to hope you don't play the number 1 seed or the number 2 seeds, and then wait for the players to come back. That's the only thing you can hope for right now. But yeah, correct. You have to look at your opponents.
Unfortunately for me, in our invitationals, I'm going up against Ken Pangilinan, who's currently the number 1 team right now. And well, at least Devin Booker returned, and there's some hope that Paul George might play sometime this week.
Yes. Well,
so
for me,
that.
It's rotating. Now my problem is my Invitational League and my Champions League, because I have lots of players. Of course, Siakam, the Aaron Fox. Now Kristaps went down. Just so many injuries that I don't know what to do with those teams. I got destroyed in those 2 leagues this week. The last few days, Steph Curry not playing, and all those things really, really hurt me. So, but looking at my schedule, I'm not playing the top teams. So maybe there's hope for this week, because I got a little. I don't want to say lucky, because I might be destroyed also, but at least a better chance compared to facing a number 1 seed or a number 2 seed, right? So,
So yeah, also another thing that's been going around even in our group chats, in some of my group chats with other leagues, um, making changes in the settings by adding an IL plus, another IL plus. What's your take on that?
No, we already said that we don't agree to changing middle of the season. Still don't agree. We said it because it's unfair to the others.
Yeah.
Even if for me right now it's gonna help me in a lot of my leagues. Still, not correct to change the rules in the middle of the game. Basically, right?
Not because not because we it's like everyone is on the same playing field. Everyone's on. Everyone has one IL and one IL plus, and adding more IL plus would not benefit everyone. It will benefit those had who have issues with players into COVID. Uh, but like we said, it will be unfair to those teams who had this issue in the past weeks, right? Also, another issue that you will have there is that if you add an IL plus, how do you pick players, right? If everyone's got players that they can put on that additional slot, how will you just be first come first serve on the players? Whoever is the fastest would get the first one. That's going to be unfair because not everyone's going to be available or ready by 4 p.m. right? In case you change those settings, right? So some players would get a good player because they were early. Some players would get scraps because
what you're saying is if they add
if they add
the moment they add
because I would think some leagues would allow it, right? If unanimously everyone wanted it, I wouldn't. We have in one GC wherein everyone's voting pretty much to add an IL plus, and I raised the point of what happens now if we add an IL plus? Who gets to pick from the waiver wire first? Because of course the first one would have a little more advantage because he's gonna pick the best player from the right.
You can't do much about that. I think the only way you can do is, as you said, whoever is fastest gets it. That's why we don't agree with changing middle of the season. Plus the fact that if you add IL plus, you become a deep league. If you're a 14 team league, you add IL plus, you become a deeper league. So it's not like 14 team anymore. Probably a 16 team because the quality of the waiver would change.
Yeah, that's a big. And in this league I'm talking about, it's an 18 team league, so that would worsen the quality of the players in the waiver.
And some people will use the IL plus differently from other people. Other people will use it because, like, if I said I had McCollum, Paul George, and whoever, if I have 4 players in COVID, I put an IL plus. That's okay. You understand that. But IL plus is also for other people who are game time decisions, who are always game time decisions.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for now, like, let's say Malcolm Brogdon, before Anthony Davis, or even LeBron, sometimes it's always game time decision. So they can use that to their advantage because what if they don't have other COVID players? So it's not fair in that sense. It's not fair in that sense. So unless Yahoo would make a COVID plus designation, then that would be fairer, I guess, because that's only for COVID positive players instead of lumping everybody into one designation. So
no, don't as much as possible don't add or change settings midway or mid-season. All right, let's talk about some COVID stuff. Maybe like we can fast track into some of these teams. Philly had Niang. I think Niang was the latest one.
No, Niang was the first one. Niang was the
first one, and then Andre Drummond now and Shake Milton.
Shake Milton. And they got postponed because Philly also is out. Korkmaz and some other players with illness, not with COVID. And then Embiid and Maxi are injured or questionable to play. And another player, Danny Green. So they were down 5 players. They're down to 5 players left in their team.
So some players to stream. Isaiah Joe who's a shooter, another 3-point shooter, I think.
Yeah.
Charles Bassey has always been a player that's being eyed whenever Embiid would be out.
If
Yeah,
the game continues tomorrow, Philly versus Boston, it means Embiid
will,
Embiid
will play.
will play, Maxi will play, and also Danny Green will play. So the three of them will play, and then you add Seth Curry and Tobias. So that's strong enough. They have Ty Bull off the bench, and then these two players,
Yeah.
Joe and Bassi. So I think, well, Bassi has been good. I mean, for as a backup. So if you need bigs, and Joe, I think can have a good shooting day with more minutes. So
Yeah.
they're good streamers for the short term if the game continues.
And then for
Or
the
goes on.
Cavs, the latest one is Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley after Okoro. So, and there are a few more Cavs, not really fantasy relevant, but Ed Davis has been good when he plays
For Jarrett Allen, yes.
for Jarrett Allen. He did that early this season. Dean Wade and Chedai Osman. Chedai, I think, is out, right?
No, he's okay. He's not part of. Well, I don't know if he has any other injury, but he's not part of COVID.
I think he is.
COVID?
If I'm not mistaken, because I added him, and
the COVID players are RJ Nembhard, Stevens, and then Dylan Windler and somebody else. Plus,
yeah.
I mean, Osman is there.
I added him, but the game today was postponed.
Yeah, and the problem with Cleveland, if I'm not mistaken, they don't have a game for the first 2 days of week 10. I think so. Something like that. Milwaukee also does not have a game for the first 2 games.
Yeah. So that's why I think I decided to drop Chedai Osman. Anyway, yeah. Of all these three, I think Osman would be the best here.
Yeah. Osman and Wade. And Wade for me.
And then Davis, if you need some heavy rebounding, should be good. For Boston, Josh Richardson joins
I told
Grant
you.
Williams and Al Horford.
If you're hot, you're next in the COVID list. I'm sure a lot of people picked up Josh Richardson, right?
Yeah. Josh Richardson's last few 3 or 4 games, I think, were really good.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, like I said, unlucky. I was also saying in the other league, that when I feel like whenever I pick up someone, they get into COVID, and
and Schroeder is also with illness, and also I think Langford also.
So not much, not really big fantasy, not really exciting fantasy streams here for Boston. Peyton Pritchard, Aaron Nesmith. I think Pritchard would have, would be the best there.
If we're sure Schroeder won't play tomorrow, I'd like Pritchard. Actually, if only I have unlimited moves in any league that I have, I'll be streaming these guys like Pritchard, Joe, tomorrow. But I can't add somebody tomorrow and then drop them right away because it's a waste of a moves. And I'm also worried that Schroeder might actually play. So it will be wasting adding Pritchard. But if not, I mean, and I'm also afraid Philly's game will be postponed. So there's lots of worries. So I can't risk it all right away. So that's why, but if you guys have more moves, these guys are good streams.
Golden State, Andrew Wiggins is the latest one. So we have to watch out about Golden State as well. They rested players. Now they have 2 players, and we said it about Cleveland the other day. We have to watch out about these Golden State Warriors because they already have 2. There might be a few more coming up. So keep an eye on Damian Lee, Jonathan Kuminga. Otto Porter.
But I like Lee. I think Lee would be the better
best
one. The better one, yeah.
But still, if Steph and those guys play, the upside of Lee is still, not too
Yeah.
good, I
Yeah,
guess.
but that's safer, I guess, in a way. I think Lee is safer. He's gonna replace two players. He's gonna have to replace Poole and Wiggins now.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got Curry can't do it alone. Draymond is not a scorer, guys.
Yeah.
So Steph cannot do it alone. They'll need a scorer, and it's Lee. It's Lee. I mean, Kevon Looney can do that. Otto Porter is just a spot up shooter. So Lee would be good. Lee would be good, I think. Unless he gets into COVID, which is possible.
Yeah, it is possible. The Nets had, well, Claxton and Blake are injured, right? They have
Yes.
some injury. So yeah, they don't have players. Pretty much that's it.
Everybody, we talked about Dayron Sharp yesterday. I said that guy. He also is in COVID protocol. So that they signed 2 new players, and then I think Patty Mills is left, and probably 1 or 2 more players. A Duke, David Duke. That's all. The others, Blake Griffin is questionable. Claxton is questionable. So I don't know what they will do with their team. Because if you look at the list I put there, it's basically the whole team.
Yeah, it's basically
the
everyone.
whole team. James Johnson, Paul Millsap, Bembry, Javon Carter, everybody is there. It's the stars, the bench players. So I don't know what they'll do.
Other
That's
players
something.
who got into COVID Trae Young got into COVID.
Trae Young.
Right? So that's one big name. Big catch there with Atlanta. Cody Martin is in COVID. Seems like Cody Martin was late to the party.
Yes,
I mean,
exactly.
This
exactly.
is and this could also mean that there others who were not hit by COVID could get there. I mean, watch out for players.
I don't know where
Miles
Cody
Bridges
Martin. I don't know where. Well, don't say that, please.
Watch out.
Let's not go there. Let's not go there because
I'm just saying.
Hayward and Bridges were probably the only 2 that did not get it from Charlotte.
Yeah.
So don't say that. Don't say that. Maybe Cody was just trying to follow Caleb. When you're twins, when one is sick, the other wants to be sick also. So maybe
Possible.
it's just that. Maybe it's just that. Come on, man.
He's late to the
No,
party.
yeah, but
everyone's back.
Stop it.
Right?
Stop it. No saying Miles. That's bad. That's bad words.
Kristaps, another injury.
Yeah.
So I'm happy I added Kleber yesterday, but I'm not happy he didn't give me any blocks today because I needed those.
Come on, 14 rebounds. What else do you need?
The blocks.
Come on.
I needed the blocks. And he was the only center left in the. But yeah, I probably would hold on to him a little longer. See what happens with that Kristaps thing. Yeah. So, what's happened to Kristaps? Is he a foot?
Sore foot. It's a sore foot. So I don't know what it is, but whenever it's a foot and it's a 7-footer,
he just came back from right?
Yeah.
From another minor injury, right? A sore knee. Is it a sore knee?
Yeah, I think it was a sore knee, but he played after one game. Sprained ankle. He sprained his ankle, but didn't miss any game. So let's see. What if this just nothing? Let's hope
this is just Kristaps being Kristaps.
Hopefully it's nothing. Hopefully it's nothing, please.
PJ Tucker, who's been one of the players keeping Miami's keeping Miami alive, or being a big part of Miami's starting 5, does have a knee injury. Is it knee?
Yeah, it's a knee injury. It didn't seem serious, but he could not return. So I don't think he's gonna play. I don't know who's left. They have to play Dwayne Dedmon now, probably 45.
But Gabe Vincent becomes a more valuable asset for them, I guess.
Hopefully it forces Jimmy Butler to come back.
Hopefully that's the hope. Tyler Hero didn't play again, although Gabe Vincent did play a good game today.
Yeah.
So yeah. No major ad, I guess, there with PJ Tucker. Nothing that we haven't really talked about. Max Trust, Gabe Vincent. I don't think KZ Okpala or Omer Yurtseven would be very exciting ads. Maybe for very deep leagues, they will be. But you'd rather add Maxi Kleber, who's probably lying around there. And the other guys that we talked about, Dean Wade or maybe Shaddai Osman, those players, definitely over these guys.
But again, look at the schedule, guys. We posted the schedule. Don't pick someone. This is a weird week, so don't pick someone right
it's
away.
a weird week because after tomorrow there are a lot of teams who won't play for a couple of days.
Yes. There are.
I've looked into that when it comes to adding certain
Yeah.
players because I've been looking into which players to stream, and not everyone has good schedules.
Because there are around 6 or 7 teams with 2 games. So that alone, you can see how weird the schedule is this week. So be careful of wasting a move and then saying, "Oh, this is gonna play on Wednesday or Thursday," so that you're gonna have 2 days of.
So when you choose between two players, especially this early, I mean, first day of the week, right? First day of week 10. First consideration would be the schedule, right? If you add this player, would they have back-to-back games, or like we said, there's really not much back-to-back games there's really none on the first day.
None,
right?
First 3 days, none.
So those things you try to consider before adding, because that would, it can be, especially in times like these where games can be postponed and all, and then you waste a move and those things. So be smart.
And that's why Jordan Nwora, maybe the Marcus Cousins, they're in my waiver wire leagues, because
I dropped Nwora even after the good game.
Because it's tough. 2 games with 2 days without any games is actually 3 days because he didn't have a game today also. So so that's tough.
Who else? So some good news. Ja Morant closing in to a return. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if we're still gonna believe any Memphis reporting on injury, especially after Jaren Jackson's close to return every month last year.
Well, according to the timeline of Morant, is 4 to 6 weeks. It's not yet 4 weeks. It's almost 3 plus. So I would think they would not force him back even if he feels good. I would think it's early January at the earliest. Probably the first few games in January.
I would say mid-January would be the safest to expect him. I mean, he can come back early, but I always lower my expectations when it comes to these things.
But I'll give Taylor Jenkins the benefit of the doubt. He's been saying, keep on saying that he's near. Ja is near, so there.
Devin Booker suddenly returned. I didn't expect him to return actually. But he played today. Had an okay game, scoring wise. I think he only had 16, but I think it was a very lopsided win. So at least he's back. At least he's back for those who own Devin Booker. Paul George, like I said, could come back this week. Hopefully, keeping my fingers crossed that he comes back this week. All right, those are the news. Other ads that you might want to consider: Carmelo Anthony. I dropped Carmelo earlier this week.
No Anthony Davis. You can see he has to take more shots. Just based on the players they have. Trevor Ariza came back today though, but I think he's more of gonna be a 10-minute guy or anything. So Carmelo would probably get more shots, more attempts. Worth a look, especially in these times where we need warm bodies. So Carmelo, had good games. Had a good game today.
Max Truss, we said if you need some threes, has been really good so far. I think is he better than Duncan at this point so far?
The past 2 games he was, but before that, it's been alternating between Duncan and himself. So he's been hot. 12 threes, 8 yesterday, 4 today. So as long as the shooter is hot, you go with him. And now that Tyler Hero, I don't know what's wrong with his squad, still out. As we said, we gave you those names: Opala, Yurt 7, Deadmon. There's no scorers. So Struss will need to score. I think it's a safe one. But again, I'm not sure. But I think he also doesn't have games in the first 2 days. Just check it out.
Still, yeah, probably there are a lot of 3-point shoot, like we said, like we always say, there are a lot of 3-point shooters in the waiver wires as well. So if you miss out on him, I'm pretty sure there's a lot more there.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I'd rather get maybe Osman, who can also shoot threes, but can do other things, right? I mean, if in case that they won't postpone their games.
That's the problem. It's this
That's
is
the only
tough
thing.
right
I mean,
now.
overall, I
Doing
think,
a doing a fantasy podcast now. It feels like we're in the ER of a hospital.
right?
Speculating on so many things. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
I mean, if everything's, if both of them will play, I'd rather have Osman than Struss,
Agree.
right? Who can
Yeah.
do other things than just shoot threes. So yeah, worry players. Anthony Simons, Tyus Jones drop.
Simons could be dropped, in my opinion. If you have any, I have Simons. I picked him up. I still can't drop Simons only because I have so many players that are in the IL plus. So I have worse players than Simons because of that. But and I have limited moves, so I just keep him. But what does he give you? He gives you 3 3-pointers, 13, 14 points maybe. Yeah. But if he shoots terribly like today, 0 threes, nothing else.
Yeah.
So even without McCollum, it looks like they're gonna play big. They've been playing big. So there's no upside anymore. We've seen it. There's no upside. The rotation has not changed. Damian Lillard is on fire. And is healthy at this point. Simons is a draw, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think Simons' value relies on Dame's health. If Dame is out, then Simons have better value. But now that he is, Dame's back, limited, much more limited when it comes to his value. Tyus Jones, on the other hand, Tyus Jones is a good player, but a low upside guy. You like I said, you don't expect him to wow you with those numbers, any numbers.
I've seen Tyus Jones being dropped now, maybe because of the Ja Morant news, and then today he had a bad game. So that plus that equals Tyus Jones being dropped. I'm not saying you should drop him right away. He will still have maybe 2 weeks more of a little of the low end value Jeremy is saying, but this is what Tyus Jones does. He starts well, he plays well, but after a while kind of tapers off. His stats kind of go down. I don't know why, but it's how he is usually.
Yeah, but again, if you look at the other players available, he might not be the best one there. Yeah. Would you have Tyus Jones or Maxi Kleber at this point?
Depends on your needs. I have both of them in one of our league.
Yeah,
I just picked both of them up. Actually, Tyus has been with me since Ja went down, and then I picked up Maxi Kleber.
I guess this is where the part wherein you scout your opponent comes in, right? If your opponent is quite elite on the assists and steals, maybe you just focus on the rebounding and maybe some threes with Kleber than Tyus Jones. I mean,
actually, that question is perfect. If you make Tyus Jones a big man, it's Maxi Kleber. They're not gonna, even if you give them 40 minutes, they're not gonna 20 points, 12 rebounds.
They won't.
There's no upside. There's no upside in these guys, but they will not hurt you. They will give you Tyus Jones assists and steals, Kleber threes, probably rebounds, blocks a little there. So you know what you can get, but they'll get 5 points, 7 rebounds, 1 block, something like that.
No, Kleber can score a little more.
But he's never consistent.
Not consistent. I'm not saying consistent, but if you're gonna stream, let's say, and you're picking between 2 players, something to consider is your needs and your opponent. What stats would you need to beat your opponent? And I think that's something that you have to consider when choosing players to stream. And an example would be Kleber and Tyus Jones, wherein both players will not give you the same types of stats. So that would still depend on your opponent and your need, right? So yeah, there. What else? Worry Terry Rozier and Gordon Hayward. Well, just so you know, scorers get into a funk, and I guess this is where the funk is for Rozier and Hayward.
Especially Rozier. I mean, he was so good. I remember at one time he said he's back, and good if you bought low. But now, I mean, 1 out of 10. Yes, the other day, 2 out of 10 today. I mean, really bad shooting. And Charlotte has been demolished the past few games. Totally, destroyed.
Well,
So
let's see. We have the LaMelo back, so maybe that's the key piece that they are missing. LaMelo Ball, who may be the guy that can hold them together and get them back to their winning ways. All right, those are just worry players. Of course, there's really not much worry players other than those in COVID. And I don't think if you are a manager, you'd worry about someone who's already playing and giving you a little not so good value versus someone who suddenly doesn't play. And you need them. I had a lot of those this today. I mean, in the invitationals, me versus Eric Ong, it was really close, and I was kind of happy that the stats were close, and I had a fighting chance towards the last day of the week. Given that I didn't have Paul George, Butler, and Booker this week, but yeah, and then a lot of players' games were postponed, and that killed my chances. Who are we going to talk about? Feel good players. We talked about Lillard. Robert Covington. Okay, let's talk about Robert Covington for a bit because we've always been talking about him as a worry player.
yeah,
I've seen in some 12 teams, he has been dropped a few weeks ago. Should we still trust him and add him back to our lineup?
Robert Covington?
Yeah.
I mean, you know how streaky Robert Covington can get, but ever since he went to the bench role, he's top 50?
Yeah.
He's top 50, and the steals and the blocks are elite. Whatever Matisse Thybulle is what Robert Covington was
giving you. Yeah.
And Matisse was never, a guy who could give you threes that Robert does, rebounds.
Yeah.
That's why Robert Covington is a top 40 player before. I'm not saying he's gonna be top 40 rest of the way, but even if he just continues like 1 steal, 2 blocks, he's gonna be top 80, top 70. So if he was dropped, pick him up. The bench role really, really works for him. I don't know why, what it is, but yeah.
Well, he's against the second unit. That's always my theory.
Plus, he has a center eligibility. That's very big. Very big
for someone who's not big.
Yeah,
he has center eligibility, and someone
for whatever reason, Yahoo. I don't know what they're doing.
No, this is a carry.
Center.
Not now, but this was a carryover from his Houston days.
But come on,
that started it. Now he's not playing center anymore. But yeah, I think they haven't really changed that. But yeah, we'll take it.
Yeah.
I mean, the managers would take it. Buddy Hield had a good game.
I don't have Covington, so I won't take it. I will write Yahoo to change and make it an SFPF, which is what it should be.
You think he can sustain this throughout the season?
Not this good. Not this good. If you guys have been playing fantasy long enough, you know what Robert Covington will do. He will be good, and then all of a sudden he'll be 2 points, 2 rebounds, and you'll hate him. So until when that happens, anybody's guess. But for me, not this good. But he will be overall on an average. He will be top 100 after everything. He'll still be top 100, up and down.
Yeah, Buddy Hield played well.
Trade him.
7 threes.
Yeah,
he started as well, and of course, Sacramento has been a little more depleted too.
Yeah,
without Fox, did they have Barnes? They didn't have Barnes, right?
They have Barnes. They don't have Fox. Davion Mitchell, Rashawn Holmes is out.
Holmes, yeah,
Bagley and those players. So yeah.
So that's also the reason why Tyrese Haliburton had a great game today. I think probably the best this season because no Fox to facilitate. So
ever ever since Fox went down, Tyrese has been really good.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
I mean, if this is gonna be what he's gonna do without Fox, this is basically probably second round, probably near the level of DeJounte. Not as good, not as triple-double good, but really, really impressive. And there are rumors about Fox, so just be aware of that when valuing Tyrese Haliburton. Just saying. I mean, this could be the dry run to whatever happens post the Aaron Fox in Sacramento.
Yeah, and that's the of our feel good. Dillon Brooks. Dillon Brooks. Who would have thought, right? Dillon Brooks would be offensive juggernaut for the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yeah, 30% usage for the season. Still a team high, league high. I mean, not the league best, but league among top 5 in the league. So, if you look at the usage leaders of the NBA, one guy will stand out. It's Dillon Brooks, the only non-all-star there.
And I'm happy I played him in the Roto league that I'm in, because I've always been second guessing whether I should play Dillon Brooks or not, because the field goal can be bad. But yeah, today I also played Tim Hardaway Jr. today, so I'm quite happy with that. So
Dillon and Tim Hardaway Jr. I also have Tim in THJ and Roto. I haven't even. I think I used him twice or thrice only this season because it's tough. It's hard to really...
I've been lucky that the time I don't use him, I think there's just one time he played well. And then the other times that I didn't use him, he's been bad. And then the times that I use him, he's been, okay. I mean, not bad. Not the 1 out of 10 type of bad. So yeah, the player for me in that is Mitchell Robinson, because, he's been bad when I play him and good when I don't play him. So yeah, and I'm right now 6th in Roto. I reached 4th the other day, so I'm quite happy. Let's see. The first one has been really good. I mean, he's got 98 point something points. The counting stats have been really, really good. So let's see. At least I could get 3rd or 2nd. Maybe I'll be happy with my Roto performance. First solo Roto performance. And yeah, there. That's the quickie for today. Good luck on week 10. Let's keep our fingers crossed. And if you are listening from the Visayas region, well, we hope that you are, you're safe at this point. I know we have some listeners from Cebu, from I think in other parts. I don't know which part, but I'm pretty sure we have some listeners from the Visayas who was ravaged by the recent storm. So I really hope that you are safe and you were able to survive, or your family is safe after that stormy weekend here in the Philippines. All right. And yeah, good luck on week 10, guys. And we'll see you. Oh yeah, just to shout out, I just suddenly remember a couple of our Roto friends are from that area, and they said that they didn't have connection and all, and having difficulties with the signal and all. They're safe, so they're safe. Well, that's good. So I just hope that the provinces would be able to recover faster with, of course, our help and your guys' help. If there are lots of posts about donating to these provinces, so hope you can also do that and help out our brothers and sisters in the south. All right, that's it for a quickie, and we'll see you again tomorrow for week 10. Bye, guys.
Bye.